Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Mod Squad. This is episode 134 on May 29th, 2019. Last show of the month. Hopefully the last show that I'm still moving. And I am Clyde. Today I am joined by Matthew Russ.
Hi, Clyde.
And Jimmy Trammell.
Hello, Clyde. And I'm always moving.
I'm not a shark. I don't need to move to stay alive. So,
but if you do stop moving, you might not be alive.
One can only wish. Or dream.
That's kind of creepy and sad suddenly. We got real dark real fast in this episode.
Oh, you want to get real dark? We can get real dark.
No.
We now have that technology.
Now you're totally going to screw up Wabbit Magic's editing on this. You know that, right?
I have named that scene Wabbit because it's there for him.
Excellent.
Awesome. Hey, and W Scott S1 just subscribed with Twitch Prime for 14 months consecutive. Non-broken transitions. Dude, you are awesome. I will thank you in person in 2 weeks in Indiana. And on that, should we just get into it since we got a late start?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, Amazon has filed a new patent today, and one of the patent basically explains how they are working on making it so they can use their voice assistant even without a wake word. Essentially, they're setting it up so their assistant, which I will call Alex, is able to respond to requests pretty much without even having to be woken up with some type of phrase or word in order to get its attention. This means it's going to be listening to you all the time if this is the case. So I'm certain that because Amazon is doing this and not Google or Facebook, everybody will think this is an excellent thing. But as soon as Google or somebody else tries to do it, everybody's going to be worried about their privacy.
Now, is this a new patent, or did it just like become public knowledge recently?
It just became public today. So I don't know when the patent was actually filed, but it became public today. So,
yeah. So the only good thing is that the wording in this says that they were considering it, not they are doing it. So it's not something that they have implemented. It's not something that they're necessarily going to implement, but it is something that they could implement. And that, yeah.
So how this works is that they are still going to have a wake word, essentially, but it's you can actually say the wake word at the end of your sentence. So you could say, "Turn on the light, Alex." And then it will be able to go, "Oh, that was a command. Let's go back in time, read that sentence out, and figure out what it was supposed to do with that command." So I'd still basically always constantly waiting for the wake word, but has a larger buffer.
But the thing is, it's always listening anyway.
Yes, it is.
So I don't get why this is a big deal, because it's already always listening. It's just going to start responding. Or it could potentially respond or be ready to respond sooner, because it's not necessarily waiting. It's waiting. It'll start listening. It'll start processing. And then if it doesn't hear the A word, then it'll say, "Oh, never mind." And
well, unless it's sending everything back up to the cloud, unless it's doing everything local with which Google's trying to do and Apple's claiming they do, it has to send the recorded message up to the cloud in order for it to process and actually make an idea what to do with it. So we know that when it's actually has a buffer, and it's got a basically a logic gate that is paying attention for a certain wave, which equals the wake word. And so when it finds that wave, now it's basically going further back in the buffer. My question is that this is going to have a lot more of false positives if they do it this way, because if you were to try to say Alex, do this thing, usually you have some type of a little bit of a break before your word. And they won't necessarily have that anymore. So you're going to have things like talking about the city of Alexandria, which will just completely screw this thing up, I'm guessing. This is a technological problem. It's not as big a deal as you first think about it. It is a little bit more creepy because is it listening all the time?
Well, okay. And Drew points out there's a very specific distinction. Yes, it is always listening all the time, but this would make it record all the time. It's constantly recording to
at least a certain amount of buffer.
Yeah. And I mean, that buffer may be overwritten, but you don't know that. You don't know what it's doing. This is something I'll go to my roots and say, I think the NSA is somehow involved in this. They found a way around wiretap restrictions. They got a company, as long as you willingly install it yourself, then there's no gray area. They can listen to whatever you're saying.
But I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand with getting a smart speaker, doesn't it? I mean, just like you said, Clyde, it's always listening.
Well, I mean, always listening and always recording are two different things. If it's just sitting there listening for a keyword, and then once it hears the keyword, then it says, "Oh, I'm going to pay attention now." That's different than always, Nixon era recordings always on.
Well, I mean, the NSA is recording this at NORAD anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So, what does it matter? Yeah,
this just this cuts out the middleman of FISA courts and the need to go before a judge, because now you just go, we'll just listen to the thing that's already there.
Okay, well, I'm going to be the defender here, although I don't like being the guy to defend.
You're going to be the guy defending Amazon.
Exactly. I know that's a very weird thing. But no, I don't think they're actually recording anything more than a slightly larger buffer. They have to have a buffer just to even record the one wake word. So they're just increasing the size of that buffer to include find a sentence that ends with the wake word and then reprocess the whole sentence at that point. So I don't know.
Well, even if they recorded more than that, I mean, what good is it? I mean, what can I use it for? I don't know. It'd just be to just try to sell you more stuff, right? I mean, that'd be about the only thing, right?
I don't think that I will do that horrible illegal thing, Alex.
Well, here's the way you will really know. If if your Prime account starts auto shipping you condoms, it's literally paying attention to what you're doing. It knows that when you say, "Oh crap," we're out.
Hey, if you say, "Oh crap, we're out," they start sending you toilet paper.
Depends what room it's in, because I don't know about the Echo. Do you specify what room it is? Because like with the Google Home, you tell it this is in a living room, this is in a bedroom, this is
I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty certain you do give it room names.
I think, and I've always believed that that's because when it hears like grunts and like weird like human noises, it knows how to process those in the context of the room.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think you're supposed to do when you hear that in the kitchen?
Well, in the kitchen, you're probably lifting a turkey out of the oven. Okay. In the living room, those grunts and groans, you're probably moving the sofa.
Okay. In the bedroom, we don't talk about, and in the
we already talked about that one.
So obviously there are things you could purchase in each one of those. Like obviously a turkey lifter could be sent to you. Thank you, Amazon. And you could use some of those little furniture movers. We'll send those to you for free. These are all from Grunts. In the bedroom, obviously the condoms and obviously toilet paper for the bathroom. Totally makes sense. Amazon's got to figure it out.
Yeah, and Drew points out Amazon's AWS will now stand for always. Always something. And on that note, I hear Instagram's doing something.
So Instagram has this platform called IGTV. Does anybody remember us talking about it?
Nope.
Exactly. We actually did talk about the fact that they were trying to make a competitor to YouTube called IGTV.
That was in our first few episodes, wasn't it?
No. It was only like a half a year ago.
2016 is when they launched IGTV.
Okay, maybe. I don't remember, but I do remember that they were talking about this like half a year ago, maybe a year ago. And one of the big things that we went about when we heard about it is that they were requiring all their videos to be vertical videos. Guess what? They've finally decided to allow horizontal videos, the right way, to be allowed to be posted on their system. They've basically been hearing from a whole lot of people who basically realize that it's actually not very fun to have all your videos in a vertical format when you're trying to watch it on your widescreen TV. So they've finally decided that this is the way to go.
And in this move, they actually admitted that the whole reason they were pushing the portrait mode was to keep people posting it on Instagram and not also cross-posting it on YouTube. Because if you put a portrait video on YouTube, everybody knows you don't do that, because you will incur the wrath of the trolls. And so yeah, that was their only reason. That was their only reason for kind of trying to force that portrait video. But they got a lot of feedback from people that were either would like to post on Instagram, but they're not because of that, or people that were just irritated that you couldn't watch video landscape on Instagram. So, but yeah, so I remember this story back in February when they were trying to force it. But 2016, they announced IGTV back in 2016. It's been around that long, and still nobody knows about it.
This is not really. It's more competition is good. Come on, Instagram. Now that you actually have a platform, I actually might watch. Good for you.
Mark Zuckerberg, hold for laugh.
Okay. All right. Speaking of holding for a laugh, okay, not really. Rotten Tomatoes is basically making a new system where you're not allowed to make a rating on their site unless they can verify that you've bought a ticket. They've been having to deal with internet trolls, and they've decided the way to handle that is to basically figure out a way to verify whether or not you've seen the movie or not. And actually, I'm not certain exactly how they do the verification tag.
And it's not that you can't post a rating. It's just they won't count it in the weight unless it's verified. I will say this is an awesome move. Good job, Rotten Tomatoes, because there have been recently so many movies that have been campaigned with bad ratings before the movie even comes out. And that's exactly what they want to stop. And I assume it's going to be like when MoviePass went to the ticket verification, where if you were going to, once you purchased your movie, you had to take a picture in the app of the ticket on your phone. I assume it'll be something along those lines. It was very painless, worked very well, and it helped MoviePass crack down on people buying tickets for movies they didn't actually go see. So,
go ahead.
Just saying, I got a question here. So, Rotten Tomatoes vote, is that only while the movie is in the theaters? I mean, can you vote on Rotten Tomatoes after it's on
you can still
DVD release?
You can still rate it. It's just there are going to be two different ratings. You get the official tomato meter from verified people, and if you want to see all of them, you can click a button and then see all of the unverified.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I could also see a thing where it's like like after 3 weeks or something that they kind of let things kind of melded normally, or some kind of time delay, because after that point it's okay if you want to tell them. Yeah, because like, hey, I didn't see this movie ever in the theaters, but it came out 9 months later and on DVD. I watched it and it sucked. I put it on Rotten Tomatoes. How do you verify that purchase?
So actually, Routing Wonk says, according to DTNS, if you have to buy the ticket through Fandango. So Fandango is partnering with Rotten Tomatoes, and I assume
they're the same company.
Yeah, they're the same company. So that
AMC Theaters, Regal Cinemas, and Cinemark will arrive later this year, and they're working on other sellers after that.
Yeah. So I assume this will go wide release at some point, but
eventually.
Oh yeah. If you go to their website, it tells you in there. It's got a little pop up that comes up and says, "Yeah, we verify ratings."
Cool. It's good. Right. Good for them.
All truth be told, that will make slightly clean, well, very likely a more accurate view for most movies. If not all.
That will directly impact my view of Rotten Tomatoes, because basically I watch that, or I look at that, and whatever the user ratings were, I just threw that out, and then I would look at the critic rating and then go opposite, base my expectation opposite from what the critics were. So, but I mean, usually the user rating is opposite. Awesome. The user rating is typically opposite from the critics too, but it was just untrustworthy. So, yeah.
And incidentally, Rocket Man has a 90% Rotten Tomato rating.
That's once they go into the verification, that's probably going to change.
Yeah, maybe.
They got trolled.
We'll see.
Yeah, that 10% of negatives, they're going to disappear. It's going to be 100% totally.
Okay.
All right. So if you guys are like me, okay, I'm not super into this, but this news, the Star Wars series and the Skywalker saga is coming to an end with this final movie, and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I wish there was more Jedi stuff in movies in the future, but I kind of heard that maybe they won't be doing things like that. Hey, good news. It looks like it's a possibility that the Knights of the Old Republic series, which is an excellent series of video games, will become a new script for a new movie series coming out. The guys are making taking the RPG and making a script, and it's set in Knights of the Old Republic, which is almost 4,000 years beforehand, and and there are plenty of Jedi and Sith in that series for you to deal with. So if you were thinking to yourself, it'll be the end of this, and you were thinking maybe you'd like to see some more, you might get your wish.
So when I was reading this article, I did not realize I played the first game at some point for a little while. And I did not realize that took place 4,000 years before. So then that brings up a question. How did their technology not change at all for 4,000 years?
It was a long time ago in a place far away.
So they were just like in a 4,000 year like dry spell technologically?
Oh, well, apparently, yeah. They've basically hit peak technology and haven't done anything since. You can't do both.
And their peak technology
is slightly run down, kind of
with
like
CRTs and flip switches and light up buttons that don't do anything. Yeah,
totally. Nobody has any kind of walkway for you. You have to walk everywhere by yourself.
So
obviously.
That would be like going 4,000 years into our future, and they're still using the same everything.
Yeah.
We just hit the plateau, and it just stayed there.
And it's actually gotten worse because technology, it breaks all the time.
Yeah,
it does.
4,000 years from now, they'll still be using Windows.
Oh God, no! But no, I did finish the first game, Knights of the Old Republic, the very first one, and it's not AT-88. I can't remember the name of the robot that is the killer robot. Oh, he is hilarious. Just if you're curious, find the robot from Knights of the Old Republic. He's a red robot. He's a killing robot, and just look up the dialogue of him. He is hilarious. He is. If they do make a movie, I will be jazzed to see him as a character, personally.
Rock on.
So Microsoft has been working on their xCloud project, and this is their idea of being able to provide games over a cloud gaming service, and kind of their take on Google Stadia. And they are possibly looking at making it possible for every single Xbox One title that is out there to be playable on the new xCloud. This means that they will be, if they were to introduce this with all those kind of games in the system, there would be a total of, including Xbox One games, Xbox 360 games, and original Xbox games, a library of 3,500 titles that would be available possibly day one. This it does give them a nice backlog of catalog, so this would be very compelling if they were doing some type of monthly service to have access to it. But I don't know. What do you guys think about cloud gaming? It seems to be the hot thing.
See, I'm not the demographic. I don't do a lot of gaming. The stuff I do play is very casual, and I don't subscribe to any services for that. So, if they can get the experience to be good, then I think that is the future of gaming. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Why buy a physical copy of something that could potentially be hacked, that could be copied? It's good for the game creators. It's good for the service owners. It's good for everybody, but that's only if the experience is good. And so far, the experience hasn't been great with these solutions. So maybe Microsoft can get it right.
I'm totally going to take the contrary view here. No, this is not what we want. I don't think the cloud gaming solution is what we want for everything. I think a cloud gaming solution would make sense for a PC replacement.
I don't mean for everything. I just mean that good cloud service gaming services are a good thing and are the future if it's a good experience. Give people choice.
Right. I know for a fact that there's going to be at least a minor backlash if a system goes completely without any kind of local medium type of installation for it, because there are way too often at times where your internet's not working, or your internet's slow and it sucks where you live, or you're going on vacation somewhere and you want to play. And so that's kind of the kind of stuff that people depend on a working system. Also, resale value basically is non-existent when you buy a game on a streaming service. You can't resell that. You can't share games. You can't. There's a whole market that disappears.
It's good for the. It's good for the companies, as a way to cut down on piracy. But you can share games if you subscribe to a service. It's like saying, I can't get YouTube TV without actually paying for it. I've never paid a dime for YouTube TV.
Oh, you haven't, have you? Well,
I just take a trip to Portland every so often. But
I am making the argument that it makes sense for the PC market.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense for, hey, I just need a PC for me to play a game, but I really don't want to spend $2,000 on a machine. I would be happy to spend $20 a month on a service that really streams me awesome gaming. But especially portable systems, there's no way. And so I think Nintendo will never go this way. Well, sort of. They kind of actually already do for some of this.
If 5G, when 5G becomes more prevalent, and as faster bandwidth becomes more ubiquitous and available, then this I think will make more sense, because they're making these devices smaller and smaller. People want more storage, but rather than filling up your phone with games that you may never use, it makes sense to hop on the internet and stream
Yeah.
the titles.
Yeah, I would think even LTE is already there, right? I mean, LTE
In
is
some
probably
areas, there are
probably
some areas that it is not.
should, certainly right, but I mean, 3,500 titles, and LTE is there already, and then 5G's on the way. Um, yeah, I could see this being a viable service, right? Um,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I think of this, I think of the younger generation, of course, right? I think people of Matt's age, that are used to having that physical media, right? They're, maybe they will kind of dip their toe into it, maybe not. I don't know, but the younger generation, I think, definitely, once they're into their 20s and making their own money. Yeah, I think they would sign up for this. No questions about it.
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, there's still going to be people that prefer physical media. Like when it comes to music, I stream all of my music.
Sure.
now. But
Yeah.
if there's a band I like, I still buy the CD because I like the physical media. I like to be able to hold on to the thing, to you
Mhm.
know. But
In that case, I'm okay. If you can still buy a copy and stream, it's cool with
yeah,
me.
but I buy CDs and then they go on the shelf and they never get played because
Yeah.
number one, I don't have any place to play it. I don't have a car with a CD player, and
Yeah.
and I'm streaming it anyway. But
Yeah. I mean, I could look right up here, right, just to show you, right there.
Ooh. It's all
If you can
all
see.
fuzzy.
it's in
all
your
fuzzy.
blurry background.
It's all blurry, man.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's the Beatles.
It's the Beatles.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all their albums right there, right? And that's physical media, right? But yeah, we don't. We don't do that anymore. And I'm like you, Clyde. I stream all my music now, right? Yeah. But and this goes up on the shelf, right?
Yeah,
That's
like
where I got it from.
2 years ago, when Epica came out, put out their new box set, I pre-ordered the special edition. It's this giant, beautiful box. It's got like 4 LPs, all of the CDs. It came with a shirt and a whole bunch of art book and everything. Yeah, it just sits on the shelf but I have it. And that's all. I just wanted it. I listened to that music on Spotify.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Also, for me, it becomes real sad that the retro scene for, I mean, if streaming became the only way, imagine what happens when streaming services go away and you can never stream that thing again, or you wish you could see that how that old game was, but no.
Also,
sorry.
the other thing that we didn't actually touch on, much like the music industry, going to a streaming platform lowers the barrier of entry for smaller companies that can't afford to print to disc and then advertise and distribtive.
Games
that's
already
why
solved that problem.
That's why Steam is good.
Yeah.
But even then, a lot of times they either have to put it out for free, and then they don't really make anything, or they put it out there for sale, but if nobody knows who they are, nobody may buy it. If you put it on a streaming service where it's an all-you-can-eat, like Spotify, like if you put your music on Spotify, yeah, sure, you're not going to make $1 million, but you get something just by the fact that people clicking through and just go, oh, hey, what is this? What is this? And then, maybe you end up with the next viral hit, like Fortnite. The next Fortnite.
Yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense. All right. So if you were a football fan, and I mean that as in soccer, and you were hoping to watch the Copa America in the U.S., good news, you have an option. Bad news, the only option is ESPN Plus. So you're basically this struck a deal where they are going to be the sole provider for those games in the United States. So if
Evil
you are
Disney.
no, it's not evil. It's just it's a deal struck, which means if you're hoping to see that stuff,
I just
you're gonna
wanted to
have
point
to
out that that's Disney locking it.
you're gonna
behind
have
the door.
to you're gonna have to give some money to the mouse in the form of ESPN Plus streaming service in order to watch. So
Okay.
yeah, anybody here will play football?
Football? Nope.
Football. All right.
Isn't
Amazon.
that what they play in Europe?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
Amazon has unveiled a new $90 Echo Show called Echo Show 5. Was there four behind before them? Anyways, it's a new 5-inch display version of the Echo Show with a camera built in, which will give you. It comes in white and black and has a nice display for you to see all the good echoey goodness that comes from it. It allows you to. It has all the integrations with the various platforms, including the ability to give you kind of a waking up sunrise and ability to look at video cameras that are compatible with it. So it's a new device. It's available for $89.99 from Amazon. So I wasn't the last show the circular one that was like a little. No, that was the Spot.
That was
The
the
Spot.
spot. Yeah.
Spot does, yeah.
And
No,
I think
the show. I'm wondering if the 5 is a reference to the screen size. That looks like a 5-inch screen.
It is.
it's a 5.5-inch screen,
Okay.
5.5.
Yeah. So that must
Smaller
be where
than-
the 5 comes from.
which is smaller than my cell phone.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So it looks like a nice little desk clock or
I
desk.
mean, if
or
that were like an 8 or a 10-inch tablet size screen, I think that would be great. But it's a little small. I guess if you're going to put it in your bedroom next to the bed, it wouldn't be bad as a replacement for your alarm clock. But you know what? I already have that. It's called my phone. On my I've got a tilt-up charging stand. So it's always sitting upright, facing, so I can look over, and then I can see what time it is because it's got the always-on display.
Yeah.
And
Nice to see we got a Nicole Lee article in there, right?
Matt, are you gone? Or are you just
I'm
frozen?
not gone. I am still here, but I am
Okay.
totally frozen.
I didn't know if you were playing
Hey.
or
Oh.
if I needed to refresh you. Refreshing.
Nice to see Nicole Lee there in the
Yeah.
article.
Absolutely.
All right. CBS All Access has a couple exclusive shows that a lot of people seem to like. One of them being the Star Trek Discovery. The other one, the first one they actually launched with, was called The Good Fight, which is kind of a shoot off of the very successful The Good Wife show on CBS. And they are taking after they've been announced that they are going to be getting another season of this Good Fight show. They're going to start taking the first season and actually putting them on regular CBS. This is an interesting move. What do you think of the gating of content in this way?
I don't like when stuff is locked up behind a specific gate, which is the whole reason I stopped watching CBS stuff, because for years they refused to allow it on any platform. So I haven't watched like The Big Bang Theory since like probably 2013, 2014 for that reason. And so if they're going to put it out on regular CBS where you can get it over the air or you have options, good. I'd rather it come someplace like Hulu. But
It might. So,
Yeah.
because oftentimes those shows do eventually end up on the other services as well.
Yeah.
So, I go ahead.
I was going to say, I see Clyde's point there, but then on the other hand, I mean, how's this any different from, original content from other providers like Netflix or
no,
Hulu?
and that's the thing is I think that it should be made everywhere. Yes, I believe in an exclusivity window, but I believe that everything should be available regardless of what your ecosystem is at some point.
Yes.
Because if you just hoard it, and there's things that, fine, I might really want to watch that, but I'm never gonna because I'm not interested in paying for your service. And so,
or maybe I would be if I were to get to sample some of what you got out there, right? I mean, that's the
yeah,
other
but I
side
mean,
of that.
it's for me personally, it's a really hard sell to sign up for a service for one show. And yes, I've done that recently, and it's painful. But like in the Stars case, there was at least 3 or 4 different shows I was watching, but
Right, but they all disappeared.
they all got canceled, and then when American Gods comes back for a new season in 2 years, I'll consider it. But I may just wait till it's all done and sign up for 1 month and watch the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I've talked about previously how, I mean, Netflix does that with their originals. And I'm getting to the point where there's not much on Netflix I want to watch. I really don't even want to pay for it, especially with the way the prices have been going. But I can't because my kids use that account, and there's other people in the family that are using that account, so I
Got you
can't.
hooked.
Right.
And that's why I don't let anybody in the family know that I have these other subscriptions, because then they'll get me locked in as well.
Yeah.
Better hope they don't listen to the show.
I mean,
my kids would never
It
listen
wasn't
to my
all that
show.
long ago. I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago when I signed up for CBS All Access, right? It was the Star Trek Discovery that got me in there, because I was already hooked on Survivor, which is also a CBS show. So I was already hooked on one show, and then that second good show is what kind of tipped me over to, like, yeah, okay, all right, I'll do this. And then, and incidentally, the Good Fight and the Good Wife, also are CBS shows. So, they kind of got me hooked into there. But yeah, I do agree with what you're saying too, Clyde, that, okay, maybe for a short little while, you make it exclusive to the one service, but then, then release it out to the general public.
Yeah, and I mean, just because you release it other places doesn't mean you have to remove it from your service either.
Right.
I mean, there are HBO shows that have shown up on other platforms, but you can still go to HBO and watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like exclusivity in indefinite exclusivity.
I would really like it if CBS was like, okay, we have a plan. 3 years after we're going to go ahead and start releasing. Now, if they just like said we're going to be, and we're always going to be advertising, and you can watch the current season on CBS All Access, that's fine.
Yeah.
But also say, we're going to make our shows available on the regular.
And
also, that helps them fill out their regular channel, because they
Exactly.
need stuff to put up there that's good. So they'll be the best in town if they have these awesome shows to fill it with.
And also, it's a goodwill move, and potentially could bring new blood to the service.
Yep.
If you're like, that CBS thing, I don't know, I don't understand it, I don't want to watch it, I don't want to pay for it, but then you end up watching one of their shows on Hulu, and you go, oh, I need more of this. And you sign up.
Yep. You got your option. It's only $10 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, Hawaii Five-0. I like watching that show, but typically I watch it on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, there are several services that I have signed up for solely because I watched the first season on Hulu and went, oh, the new season is starting now? Okay, I'm going to sign up and watch the new season on your platform. So, I mean, yeah.
Very cool. And last story of the night is announcement that the NBC News programming, NBC News Now, which is a streaming service, is going to be available on mobile devices, Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku, is now live. You are going to be able to watch between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. a live NBC News stream every day, and it's absolutely free. So I think this means that all of the different services now have a free or some kind of streaming news service available for you from all 4 of the major broadcast companies.
As well as they should.
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, They would have me if they'd talk about anything but politics.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to spread your bias if your people aren't able to watch it?
A no politics news broadcast. That's not possible, is it?
I think all politics should be abolished except for when it comes to September of an election year.
So I stopped watching the news
Yep.
altogether like about 6 years ago when I cut the cord. I just wasn't watching, and I realized there was one point I was like, you know what? I'm not as angry and unhappy as I used to be. And I realized, because there's nobody telling me every night why I should be angry and unhappy because
That's
the
right.
world is so terrible. The other day, my mom was telling me that, I'll talk about it later, but I apparently am not subscribing to the, what was the, not Dish. Yeah. The DirecTV Now.
Right.
Right.
I'm
DirecTV Now.
apparently not subscribing to that anymore. And she said, yeah, well, at the one house, they don't get any TV. So she hasn't seen the news in like months. And I said, it's kind of nice, isn't it? She went, yeah, it kind of is. But
I don't generally watch news, but I do get my politics in podcast form. So
well, and see, at least there you can shop for the flavor that you prefer, as opposed to one of the
Whatever's
big
being
ones shoving down
shoved
what
down
they
your throat.
believe
Right.
should be your diet.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
if I don't like it, I could turn it off. But I could do that anyway.
Oh, and I've made the point many times in the past that, it's sad when I have to go to RT, to Russia Today, to find out what's actually happening in our country, because all of the stations are shoving stories down your throat that are designed to distract you from what's actually going on. So, yeah. Good for them. I doubt I will be watching it.
Yep. Me as well.
All right. Well, that brings us to a group of people that I don't think I could criticize or ever be irritated by. They will never steer us wrong. Our patrons.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought you were talking about our chauffeurs, because I've totally got stored. He was steering wrong when he was steering me around.
No, I fired my chauffeur.
I told him to take a left. He totally took a right. Just blatantly didn't listen to me.
See, the problem is I can't stand other people driving my car. So even if I had a chauffeur, I'd be paying him to be like riding in the back seat. And that's not cost effective. And you know what? While our patrons are supporting us, we don't have that much support that I can be paying a chauffeur to not actually drive me around. So
Well, it depends. It depends on the chauffeur. But okay. But yeah, the amount we're pretty slim on what kind of chauffeur we could pay for. But maybe one. We might be able to pay for one.
maybe we can dream. Everybody talks about streaming full time, that being their career. It sounds like the secret to that their success has been patrons.
That sounds wonderful.
So,
And
yeah,
it does. And it is wonderful, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love our patrons. You guys are awesome. If you're watching this show and you find even the least amount of value and you want to support us, you want to make sure that you want to help us keep doing what we're doing, yeah, that's patreon.com/the Squad. We don't ask much. We don't actually ask for anything. We weren't even going to do a Patreon, but people told us, with the pitchforks and torches that, they were going to stop watching if we didn't set it up. So, so yeah, thanks guys. And, why don't we go over and check in with Big Voice Jay?
Totally.
Welcome to your Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of May 27, 2019. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay. In my younger days, I was addicted to the hokey pokey. Then I turned myself around. Let's go to the scoreboard. Team Drunk Kids Gaming falls to last place with $21.9 million. Team Devon Squad's in 5th place with $50.4 million. Team Game Night's in 4th place with $142.2 million. Team Retro Misery jumps to 3rd place with a $128 million boost from Disney's Aladdin, putting their total at $145.7 million. Team Have a Drink is in 2nd place with $750.7 million. And in 1st place with $1,144.9 million, it's Team Movie Party. That's your Stream Team Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of May 29th, 2019.
I was not
It doesn't
prepared
matter
for
anymore.
that. I was totally not prepared for that. Sorry if I blew out anyone's eardrums.
But no, I'm sorry, you don't matter anymore. You've obviously won, so whatever. First place goes to you.
It's a
Let's
battle
talk
for
about
second. Yeah.
Exactly.
Who's gonna dethrone Have a Drink? Is anyone gonna dethrone Have a Drink? That is
Oh,
the question
yeah.
right now.
I think we got a good shot at it. We may not make it, but I think we definitely got a good shot at it.
Yeah. So it depends on how well Dark Phoenix does. Rocket Man's going to make its 150 million, 200 million maybe pretty easily, I think. But Dark Phoenix, I don't know how well it's going to do. I'm hoping for at least 200 million out of that one.
I think Dark Phoenix is going to do well because we're riding the coattails of Game of Thrones, right? Because the censor is one of the big actors of Dark.
Okay.
Well, she is
Dark
Dark
Phoenix.
Phoenix. She is Jean
Yes.
Grey.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons I can't watch that. I can't stand her.
All I
crap.
could say
Thanks, Mark.
is all I gotta say is that it's also coming out the same weekend as Secret Life of Pets 2, which is gonna probably do a decent amount of
Well,
coins.
I mean,
next to
X-Men
it,
isn't
so.
really the kid-friendly movie.
But generally, one pushes around the other in
Yeah.
the weekend. Usually, you don't have things that are neck and neck. So one's going to be the popular, and likely Secret Life of Pets is going to be that popular. I'd be very happy if Dark Phoenix was the bigger hit that weekend. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think it will. I think it will be. I think Rocket Man is going to do better than what you think.
So
I'd
how
be
is a Kim Jong-un movie gonna do well? I
come
mean,
on,
the Interview movie with Seth Rogen didn't do well. I guess the
pulled from theaters,
Team
wasn't it?
America movie did good, but that was his father. That wasn't Rocket Man. That was Kim Jong-il.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocket Man is going to do well. I think Rocket Man will probably get close to 200. I think.
I'd be very happy with that. I have no problem with that. I'm not looking for at least that much, but I do think that it can definitely make it. Last weekend with Aladdin actually did very well for Ritual Misery. So believe it or not,
I forgot to look and see what did Aladdin do for numbers.
128 million as of today.
Okay,
That's a really good weekend for them. They actually did very well.
Yeah, I remember the outcry about Blue Will Smith Genie.
I suspect that it's going to level off kind of quickly because of the negative. I mean, the reviews were not great for it.
Yeah.
But I think it did just fine. I don't think that Ritual Misery has anything to worry about there. I think that they've got their money out of it. So
I'm still waiting for my John Wick money to come in.
Yeah, well, your John Wick money's coming in 110 million.
Well, so far, but it's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
I'm waiting for the next 100 million.
It's not going to get that.
I think
you're going to top out 130.
I think you're doing well with that.
No, I'll be happy at 150.
You get 150, you'd be happy. I don't think you might eke that out. That's the very end.
I think by the end of the summer.
It's a long summer, so it might. Who knows?
Yeah.
But next weekend, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Ma, and Rocket Man. So Godzilla has been given the really premium treatment as far as the trailers go. He is
the king of the monsters.
It looks like it just might be a super big hit, and nobody knew that it was going to be this big a hit back in the day. So we'll see. But I think that if Godzilla does its normal Godzilla thing and is not as big as everybody hoped it would be, we're going to see
So
Rocket
are you
Man.
saying that Have a Drink is Tokyo and Godzilla's going to stomp all over it? Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Go Godzilla.
Yeah.
Back to our
So-
70s references.
So I don't know. I think whoever's not going to see Godzilla will go see Rocket Man, is what I think.
Very likely.
And so
Or
I
Aladdin.
think Rocket Man's going to do easily, 150.
Opening weekend or a total?
May not do quite that well on opening weekend. Of course, they'll do most of that.
There are enough people who really like Elton John. It's going to do okay. Just the question is, are they going to bring their family? Are they going to bring their friends? Is it going to be critically acclaimed and enough people come out to see it? Is it going to be a musical biop / movie that people are interested in? And no, I didn't say slasher movie. That would be awesome.
And here's what I also think. I think that people that go see Godzilla on, this upcoming weekend, I think will also go see Dark Phoenix the following weekend, right? So, I think Dark Phoenix is going to really do well. I think Dark Phoenix is going to do 200 million, right? I mean, I think I predicted that. No, actually, I predicted 300 million for Dark Phoenix. I don't know. Maybe that's a little wishful thinking on my part, but I don't know. Maybe it will hit it, but I do think it'll hit 200. I think 200 Dark. We're in for 200 on Dark Phoenix.
Also,
and then we have Men in Black coming up on June 14th. I think that'll do pretty good. I think that will hit triple digits.
That one is a complete wild card because it is a reboot.
It's only worth $10.
It was. But I mean, as far as whether or not it could make good money, it could be a complete flop, and
could be.
It's the wild card. It's a reboot, new people, new country. They moved it to England? Was it Channing Tatum in it?
Yeah,
no.
I think
Chris
this one's
Hemsworth.
got. I think that in terms of millions,
It's Thor and Valkyrie.
I think it's got triple digits in it in terms of millions. So I think it'll go about 100 million or a little more is what I
get
think.
3 millions.
Maybe. We'll see. I think it'll make 100 million. Easy.
And then at the end of June, we got our Yesterday movie, which I think is easily going to go 200 million.
I'm going to laugh if Hotel Mumbai outperforms Men in Black.
I would just help my
I think you would laugh too.
$9 million. Oh yeah, I would laugh. Tears would be coming from my eyes. The laughter would be so hard. So,
okay.
But no, here's the thing, Clyde. You're down to movies until the very end, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're well. It's a good thing you got enough of a cushion to coast for a while.
Yeah, until I get my
I think you'll be
300
okay.
million from opening weekend.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. So
I think I'll be
all right. Well, yeah, this should be fun. We'll see
All
what
right.
happens.
Well, let's see if this thing works as we go to our rants and raves. And Wabbit's getting all kinds of black screens to work with tonight.
Woo-hoo!
All right, what do you guys got? Rants, raves, general gripes?
I'll go first. So I'm still watching the HBO series Chernobyl. Excellent show. I mean, this and the thing is, my wife is Ukrainian, so we watched this, and I asked me and my wife's had a couple of conversations about this. Is the show portraying what really happened, right? And she's saying yes, it's being pretty true to life, in the series and all. So yeah, Chernobyl is really well done. if you haven't watched that, I'd really recommend it, especially if you subscribe to HBO. Watch this one. I think it's a good show. So yeah, I mean, I'd highly recommend it.
Very cool. So, I'm kind of stumped of what I'm ranting or raving about this week because mostly my week has been just, getting to work, coming to from work, getting things, normal house things done, and basically falling asleep in my desk every night because I don't know. It just seems like life has been fine, but nothing really interesting has happened to me. This weekend was, I don't know. It just seems like nothing really interesting has been going on. We've been trying to catch up on watching shows that we haven't watched in a long time. A lot of our shows have been canceled that we're actually interested in watching, or we finished watching all the episodes that are available to us. I do want to see Lucifer, like you mentioned last week. I haven't gotten around to it. I don't know.
Season 4. Season 4 is... They did well. I didn't know how Netflix was going to do when they picked it up.
Did it feel different?
Slightly.
Okay.
But...
Not in a bad way.
But the way season 3 ended, the change in the feel makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Because, yeah. I recommend it. If you haven't started it, definitely start it because you'll get a chance to probably catch up by the time season 5 is available.
Oh, is this going to be a 5th season?
I would assume so. They just bought the show to reboot it. They may as well do more than one season.
All right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm
All
good.
right. Well, I mean, I'm just still moving. Still got a mess of stuff stacked up behind me. If you could see all of the boxes over there on that side, it's pretty just like boxes.
Nice.
I'll be glad when this is finally set up. And
well, moving is rough, and I know that I know the feeling you have right now of utter exhaustion, lack of sleep, and too much stuff to do.
But I will say there is nothing better than a large house when you live alone.
Sorry, I had to laugh. That title was an excellent title.
Yes. I
sorry.
talked to Matt and Trey
sorry.
Smith. Or Matt, yeah. Matt and Trey. Trey Parker, Matt Smith. See if they can do Chernobyl the Musical. Because I think if anybody could do it justice, it'd be them. There'd probably be puppets. And yes. All right. But hey, you know what? We're here. It's Wednesday. We're here. We'll be here next Wednesday. And every Wednesday after that, 2 weeks, I will be doing this from Indiana, Turtle Days. So several of you out there in the chat room, I will see you there. But if you're just checking this out for the first time or after the fact, join us every week. We have a lot of fun in the chat room. You also get to submit the titles, which we will choose after in the post show. Guys, go ahead and head on over, start voting now. tvs.showbot.tv. We're so special, we have a subdomain. And then
we're so special.
Yeah. And again, thank you, patrons. It's patreon.com/the Squad. And special thank you to Wabbit Magic because he worked through all of the backlog of videos that have not been made public on YouTube. He has edited them. They are there. Head on over to YouTube if you haven't subscribed. Please do. We want that vanity URL before someone else comes along and decides to take the VOD Squad for themselves. And then we will be stuck sitting here crying. And we don't want to do that. So yeah, tell everybody you know. Access all of those extra accounts you have. You don't even have to watch the videos. Just hit the subscribe button. But we wouldn't mind if you. I guess you technically don't have to watch the videos if you were here live anyway. It's more fun.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all right.
I mean, I
You don't
never
need-
watched I never watched the videos on YouTube.
Maybe I have them once or twice.
I have.
Well, as Wabbit said, thank you very much. That was my weird Elvis / Nixon.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. But I'm going to shut this down before I say or do something even more stupid than normal. Thank you, everybody. Stick around for the after show, and we will check you next week.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.